We'll get started. Hi, I'm Bill, and it's the first time dropping into the channel. Welcome. So we're out here today, outside of Amboy. I'm here with Christian Ralph, and as you know, Patrick from Patrick's Astro and Stuff, as well as my fellow host on Astro Chat, and maybe we'll get those going again. So you guys know better where we're at, and also from a Los Angeles perspective, you know the travel time. So maybe you want to share a little bit about that.
Go for it, Chris.
Yeah, we're about, I'd say 3.5, closer to 4 hours outside of Los Angeles, Mojave Desert. Off the 40, above Joshua Tree Landers area. Amboy Crater, really nice spot. I've never been here before, but it's so far so good. Don't know what else to say. Yeah,
I think we
dark.
It's dark. I think we figured maybe Bortle 2, 3, kind of on the on the cusp, maybe.
Yeah, I think when I measured it last night, it was right at 21. When I went to bed, just after 10 o'clock. I know I went to bed early, but it was about 20. I got 2105 on the sky quality meter. So not as dark as we thought it was gonna be, but
yeah,
dark enough.
Definitely thought it would be darker according to sky maps, but those are old data, so.
Yeah, and you know, you just sometimes have to get out there with your sky quality meter and see what you see. I mean, I think any gain in darkness is a plus, and I think everybody kind of has to make a decision for themselves. For me, being in Bortle 7, 8, I'm happy if I even get to a Bortle 4. 3 or 2, great. I've only been to 2 Bortle 1 sites, one in northwestern Nevada and then one up in Aden, California, where the Golden State Star Party is. I do think, or what do you think? Do you think it's worth the effort if you can get to a darker site? Do you have a perspective on that?
Absolutely.
I do. I have mixed emotions about this. Like I was telling you guys last night, some of my best astro stuff has come from Los Angeles in a Bortle 9. And I think that just has to do with me being comfortable, knowing my exposure times since I've been doing it so long. There are a lot of times when I come out to a darker site, Bortle 3-ish, definitely when I went to Death Valley in a Bortle 1/2, I was shooting too long, and I was gathering too much light, and I blew out a couple of objects. So it's definitely worth it. You just have to adjust how you shoot out here.
You know, and that was one of my concerns. I did a video, I think, called Darker Skies Matter, talking about the relative differences in Bortle based upon what you might expect for your exposure time. And my concern with that video was, I don't want to discourage anybody from imaging from their backyard in a heavily light polluted area. We see a lot of great images produced from heavily light polluted skies. And I think we did a video with Lee Pullen, Urban Astrophotography, I think is his site. And he's in a heavily light polluted area in England, and so you look at his images. So yeah, I wouldn't discourage anybody from getting into the hobby just because you're in a light polluted area. I think you want to make sure you have enough field of view of the sky, because you know that's important. But even that you can work around to an extent, can't you? Christian?
Absolutely. My field of view at night is, from my yard, is about from here to here. So, you know, you just shoot what's up at that night. But love it out here because there's no obstruction anywhere around us. So you can shoot anywhere, anything you want, and it's just a wonderful place to come out to.
So let's maybe talk a little bit about the logistics of becoming a traveler, and what some things you want to make sure you have when you travel out to a dark site. based upon our experiences. So, I mean, you got some thoughts on that from your perspective?
Well, I mean, I've been traveling, mostly solo for the last year and a half. For me, all of my gear, make sure I have a tent, I have a cooler, water, and my power supply. And I keep it minimal because I'm not driving in a van like this. I'm driving in a Ford Fiesta, and everything has to pack into that. But just the basics, for me.
Yeah, and I think I mean, I love having a van. There's certain benefits to it, but you don't need one. Um, you need a car. You need to pick your spots where you're going to go to make sure your vehicle can handle the terrain.
Right.
To get in.
Like we almost found out yesterday.
Yeah, which I actually got stuck out here with my front-wheel drive Ram van. And Christian mentioned a tent. We're going to do a video later when it gets closer to sundown on. He's got a very unique tent that he travels with. And then we're also going to spend a little time. He's going to walk us through his SVAS scope, but we'll kind of save it for there. So I agree. Understanding your power, having sufficient power, and the ability, if you're going to be out for multiple nights, to be thinking about how am I going to refresh that power if I'm using a power station.
Yep.
Is important. Some sites here, this is primitive. There are no restrooms or anything here.
There's no services here.
No services here. But some sites that you may go to have a pit toilet. Others might even have flush toilets. And while there are some challenges in imaging in a campground, there normally comes a certain time of night when people are not driving around as much. You don't have the headlights, and maybe we'll touch on Red Rock Canyon State Park, which for me I thought was a great location, and had some services. I also think you want to make sure that you do a good checklist of what you're packing, so that you have all the things you need, and to the extent you might want to spare a USB cable or some of the lower cost items
For sure.
that you could pack with you might be a good thing to have. You want some type of red light, either be a headlight lamp or even a flashlight to help you see at night. In particular, if you're imaging around other people, you want to be mindful of that. I think us astrophotographers are not as sensitive to the white light.
No.
That's
No.
mainly visual.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you're going to be going around where there might be visual people, how about food? So
You got to bring food.
Gotta bring
if you're
food.
out at a place like this, because
Yeah.
I mean, civilization, you got at least an hour drive back to 29 Palms.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
I guess Roy's. Roy's is right up. I don't know if they have a market. I know it's
There's no market. There's a cafe there, but
Okay.
if you're on your own, you need to eat.
Yeah.
And I'll put a link in the description with the coordinates for here.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think we want to try and keep it a secret. Clearly, other people have been out here, so we'll share that.
Yep.
So if you're in the area, Southern California, and you're looking for a spot, I mean, I rate this one high.
It's the portal. The sky quality isn't as, like I said, it's not as good as we want, but the location is perfect because
Yeah.
there's no highways that are close by. You're not getting any stray headlights. There's definitely no one else out here, and we got kind of like a lava wall almost that goes all the way around. So
Well, yeah, and the dark lava, it helps with your dark sky adaptation.
Oh,
as well.
absolutely. Good
Yes.
point.
I noticed
Good
that
point.
last night, is that even when you did turn and look at the light dome from LA, as soon as you looked back, everything else is pitch black because of
Yes.
the lava.
yeah,
That's one thing
reflection.
I noticed.
True, that is true.
Yeah, that's a real good point. So what other considerations might there be? So we kind of talked about um, maybe some spare parts if you have it. Make sure you have food. You know, you're gonna want a place to rest during the night, whether that be in your car, where reclining your front seat, or you know, if you're fancy like
Yep.
Patrick with a van, and
I
which
tell
is
you, this van, it's a game changer. Like we were talking earlier, because before we were truck bed camping, so we had a truck bed tent, but you put everything in the back of the bed to go where you're going. Then you got to unload everything out of the bed, put your tent up, and then have storage containers for everything, because everything's going to be out of the truck bed, and then you're working out of that. Then when you're ready to go, you got to take the tent down, pack everything up, everything back into the bed of the truck and go. Which it wasn't bad, it was nice, but this is,
so.
man, yeah.
I think I did a video on Red Rock Canyon State Park where I was able to catch up with Christian and Patrick. But let me tell you about this van. He ran an electric smoker cooking
Oh,
riffs.
yeah.
Like
Yeah, yeah.
this thing is like a utility, like a power station. It's like,
It's,
you know.
yeah, it's pretty awesome.
So yeah, you're styling. Me, I don't have as much power. I couldn't do that.
Yeah.
But
So if you're wondering, it's a 21 Travato, 21KL. So it has the big lithium, not even lithium. I don't know what it's, cobalt, whatever. It has a big battery. So it's almost like take the battery out of a Tesla and put it
Yeah.
in this, and so it just has a ton of power. It could
Yeah.
run we run air conditioning. I mean the smoker, it runs everything. It's almost like an endless source of power. And
And-
it charges as you drive. So we drove up here. I start off with a 100% battery. I think I didn't run the AC yesterday or last night because it didn't need it, but I had my fan. The refrigerator's running, and I think I'm still got 60% battery.
maybe we'll touch on power stations because I think we all have different power stations, maybe, or maybe you and Patrick have similar.
Yeah, we both have Blue Eddy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Really good system. I just have the one power. I have the one power station, tent, tiny car, and I'm out here hanging with the big guys. So you know, it's doable at any level of budget.
Yeah.
It's doable and enjoyable. Is what I'm trying to say.
And this is one of the things I think I failed at, and you know, one of the things I had hoped with the Astro Chat was to get somebody in to a chat to talk about, you know, imaging with a DSLR, maybe a Star Adventure mount.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you don't need to go high end
Nope.
off the bat. You could,
No.
you know, there's, you know, some of us are affected by gear acquisition syndrome, gas, you know. So, but you don't need to do that. And I was never really able to bring that perspective that I wanted to share with people that, you know, you don't need a lot. It doesn't
Nope.
necessarily need to be an expensive endeavor. Now, once you do it a while and you learn about it and you see what you, I think if you're gonna upgrade, you probably want to know why you want to upgrade, just not upgrade for upgrade's sake. What is about your current setup that's not getting something done for you?
Yes.
And then make that decision. Okay, to make that upgrade, am I really going to get that value out of it?
Yeah.
You know, so. But I wanted to go back onto the power station for a minute. I'm using the Jackeries, and I can use the Jackeries. Lori and I, my wife, we camp a lot, so they kind of do dual purpose. What are you using for a solar panel? Is that a Blue Eddy as well, or?
Yeah. So I have the Blue Eddy EB. No, you have the 70.
I have 70S.
So what do I have? I must have the 50, the EB50, and then the Blue Eddy 100 watt solar panel.
Yeah. This one here behind me, that's the Blue Eddy 70S. And that one will run, I run 2 rigs off it. And I'm running the ASI Air Plus, so all ZWO stuff. And it'll run 2 rigs all night and uses 60% of the battery.
Yeah, that's where I wanted to go. How much?
Right.
You know, for what's if if someone's looking to put some gear together, what size would be a good starting size for them as far as an initial power station. I mean, there is a way to do it if you build a simple spreadsheet and figure out how many amps
Right.
your devices use. You can probably even find a calculator on the internet that can help you with that. But it's not like you need a lot of.
You don't need a lot of power. No,
Yeah.
and like I say, I'm running one scope, ASI Air, EQ6R, no dew heaters, nothing like that, and a smaller battery, an EB50, and I'll run 2 nights without recharging.
Okay, yeah.
With some to spare. I bring my solar panels just because I don't want to ever run out.
Right.
But I definitely can run 2 nights on that power station.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. The other thing is you probably want something if you come out to cover your scope and your tripod during the day.
Most definitely.
I started with plastic trash bags, to tell you the truth. I'll be honest about it. I was, I wasn't so much focused on the thermal as I was rain. And that was my concern at the time. But there's several options for telescope covers that you could get. And so that might be something that you want to have. The other thing is we're very fortunate here to have pretty good signal for cell service.
Yes.
2 to 3 bars.
Yeah.
For being this far out, 2 to 3 bars is what I'm getting. So you can make calls, you can do what you need to do.
Yeah, so I think that's one consideration when you're picking your sites, to try to determine, and there are, I forget what the website was that I used, but people will give reports, and generally there's a section where they talk about cell coverage and which providers. So that might be something, if you're dependent upon staying in contact with somebody, or you want to choose those sites maybe that allows you that connectivity that you might need. I know oftentimes I run into a problem maybe with Nina. It's my doing. I got to research it, so having some level of connectivity to do the searches is very helpful. If you're using an ASI Air, you probably don't need that, because they're very straightforward, very elegant, and they get the job done pretty much trouble-free so far with my experience. All right, then it gets to, all right, so you're going to go out for one night. All right, one night. The next day you're heading back home, okay? But now you come out for multiple nights, like we are. What do you do during sunrise
During the daytime?
and sundown?
We do what we're doing now.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, that is the other thing you need, I think, to take into consideration when you're planning a multi-night trip, is what are you going to do during the daytime. And there you might want a little bit more power in your power station, because maybe you're going to look at your images that you collected on a laptop. So you want to be mindful of you're going to need some power for that.
Yep.
Or maybe you have a laptop that has a great battery and you're going to have enough time. Along with that, I think you also might want to take into account backing up your data. I'm a little bit of a nut when it comes to backing up the data. I have multiple copies. It depends on what your comfort level is with your data. You may not need to back up at all, but it's pretty easy if you have a laptop to just take your micro SD card or your thumb drive or something and just create that second copy. You have it, and you're protected.
I'm kind of the opposite. I put it all in a thumb drive, and my thought is, if I lose it, then I know what I'm shooting the next night.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's
I'll do it all again. The stuff up there isn't going anywhere. We can get more data.
Yeah, and I think that's, I'm going to make a statement here. I don't know if Christian and Patrick agree with me, but I think one of the reason I think we do okay together is that we don't take this too seriously. This is a hobby. It's an opportunity to get out. And like you say, you just can always shoot it again, right?
Mhm.
I
Shoot it
mean,
again, yeah.
Yeah.
I've come out and every bit of my data for the night was ruined, and it didn't ruin my trip. You
Yeah.
know, that's for damn
Yep.
sure. Because for me, the trip is the fun part.
Yep.
The astrophotography is a side
Yep.
for me.
Yeah.
And that's what, when Bill and I got here yesterday, it was cloudy. We had clouds
Yeah.
all over, and I said, you know what? Even if it stays cloudy all night, I don't care. You know, we're out here. We'll have fun. You know, if we get the image, it's a bonus. If not, hey, oh well.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think for new people that may be coming on to this journey of astrophotography, you may not have already found out there could be a lot of bumps along the road.
Oh yeah.
There will
And you need, I think it'd be prudent to ask yourself, if something happens where you have a complete failure, you lose a night, are you going to be okay with that? Because if you're not, it could be frustrating.
Yeah.
Could be, because let me tell you, I'm back on Nina again with my Edge HD8, and last night I couldn't get plate solving to work. But I just said, okay, this is part of the process. What did I do? What did I change? And I'll continue to work the problem tonight. And I could take that attitude because it's just being out here that is the reward. It's the
Yeah.
it's the destination in a sense. So yeah, just for people that may be new to the hobby, that's a good place to check yourself to see how you might react.
And there's something I've said before on our Astro Chat is, like you see on the Facebook, oh, I wasted a whole night because this and that. But you didn't waste the whole night because you learned something from that night. You learned from your mistakes. So you're not wasting a night. You've learned something.
I blew a whole night out at GMARS one night because my guiding was off. It was horrible. And I got so frustrated, I didn't even stay the night. I packed up around 2 o'clock in the morning, drove all the way home to LA. My wife was like, what are you doing home so early? And I was like, you want me to leave again? But that frustration that I had, if I would have just slowed down and thought about it, it took me about 3 to 4 days to realize that I just needed to recalibrate my guiding in the ASI air.
Yep.
But I didn't. I let the frustration get a hold of me, and I didn't slow down to think it through. But like I said, Patrick said, it taught me that, okay, there's a solution to that problem. Never had that problem again. I'll have another problem that'll come up, but
Oh, yeah.
that's what happens.
And for you those of you that may be new to the channel, Christian referenced GMARS, which is Goat Mountain
Right.
Astronomical Research Station in Landers, California, and it's run by the Riverside Astronomical Society. It is, if you're in the Southern California area, it's a Bortle 4, and maybe you want more. Maybe you want a Bortle 3 or 2. But let me tell you, there's cement pads, there's 2 houses on the new moon weekends that are open to members of the club and non-members. They have showers, beds. So if you're really looking for some place to get involved with a club that has nice facilities, you might want to keep GMARS and the Riverside Astronomical Society, keep them in mind and maybe check them out.
Yeah. That place is awesome. My first time going out there, I went to GMARS, and I didn't have a tent. All I brought was a sleeping bag, and I stayed the night in the house.
Yep, I remember
Yeah.
that
The
night.
people there,
Yep.
they're cool. I mean, they tell you, hey, look, here's the air conditioner, here's how it works. It has a heater. I mean, it was perfect.
Yeah,
I
and
mean, before you even buy equipment, go to GMARS.
Yes,
The people
yeah.
there, everybody in this, I was going to say industry, everybody in this hobby wants to show you what they have. So
Yeah.
go out there and talk to people. Everyone will show you, oh, look, this is what I got, this and that. There's visual people out there. You can go look through that giant, what was that, a 22-inch Dobson they got out there.
yeah.
You can go look through that.
Capella, I think they call it, right?
Capella.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
And it's
yeah.
awesome.
and again, you don't have to be a member, but for I think it's $60 for
60 a year.
yeah,
Yeah.
for a year. I mean, it's I think a super great value, and I mean it's such a value that I traveled 473 miles one way to go down there. Now that I've caught up with Patrick and Christian, I'm getting out more to other places down here in Southern California. which has been fun. And you know, maybe I'll get out. I want to go to Death Valley. Both Christian and
Yes.
Patrick head out there and have imaged, and I'd like to tag along sometime for that. Um, so yeah, I think, you know, being a traveler, getting out of your backyard can be a lot of fun. It could be rewarding. I think it's more fun when you do it with uh, another person, but you've been doing it basically on your own. You've been solo.
I've been soloing for about 2 years now, and I'll tell you, as much as I like these two blokes, it's nice. It's nice once in a while just to, you know, even for a night. I'll drive out a Friday night to Red Rock. Not even take my tent or nothing. Just shoot for one night, just to get out. You get to know, you know, how you work better in the environment. And then you also get to know what you actually really need. You know, like I said, I do not take very much stuff. I pack within I get home from work within an hour. I'm packed and I'm on the road.
Yep.
That's how my setup is. So it can be really simple. And like I said, later on we'll show you the tent. We'll show you the car.
Yeah,
It's a
that'll be a separate video, but
really small
Yeah.
small setup for the for that anyone can do.
And one more thing, when you're traveling solo, where you're gonna go, mark it on Google Maps. You know, drop a pin and send that text to either your wife or somebody that you know, so at least they know where you're gonna be. Because God forbid, if something happens, say you get stuck in the dirt,
Yeah.
you have no cell phone reception. 2 days go by,
Could
and
happen.
your wife's like, "Well, you should have been home by now." At least they know where to look. So,
yeah. And when I've gone out by myself where there's not going to be other people around, I travel with the Garmin InReach Mini. That if there's no cell coverage, generally I can connect to a satellite and send a text. And then I have a PLB, personal locator beacon. You pull that thing and the whole cavalry comes, you know, the helicopters and everything, but that could cost you a fortune. But yeah, no, that's a very good point, Patrick, to point that out. I wanted to pick up on solo versus having somebody with you on more than one occasion, including last night. Having Patrick nearby, I think it might have been when we were at GMARS, and I for some reason I got stuck on my back focus, and you told me, hey, yeah, just adjust the adjustable field flattener. So that saved my night. It just passed right over my head. That, yeah, that's what that thing. That's what it is.
You get
It's
stuck
adjustable.
on one thing,
Yeah.
and all it takes one
Yeah.
person. Hey, did you
Yeah.
check that? Oh yeah, I didn't even think about that.
And then last night, so I recently got an AM5. I don't know. I have a video up on how I came to get it, because my HEQ5 with the Red Cat 51 got blown over by the wind. But that's another, that video's up there. But having Patrick here, who has two AM5s, he was able to just really confirm what I was doing was okay. I had him check how I had put it together, the pier and everything, and just having somebody nearby, I think has some rewards. Except when everything's going smooth on their end and you're sitting there with problems, and they're using ASI errors, and you're the dummy that went back to Nina.
Yeah,
No,
but it's not that. Nina is.
No, I
Nina's
love
awesome.
Nina, but no, that was last night. It was kind of like, oh, but yeah. So, you know, great point though on letting someone know where you're at, and yeah. All right, so kind of, I guess this has kind of been a video on just some maybe things to think about if you want to become a traveler on occasion, what you might want to consider. We've mentioned Red Rock Canyon State Park several times. If you're in the LA area, great
Great place.
place.
Yeah. Definitely
We had a
worth
few
2 hours
headlights come through, but after around 10 o'clock, I didn't see any traffic. But that was, I would definitely go back there and image again. A great, and the whole park staff was really laid back.
Yep. And
So-
the thing with Red Rock, if you're not there in the middle of summer, if you're there like now, during the day, there's stuff to do. There's tons of hiking trails
Yep.
to go walk on.
Sure.
Like here, there's really nothing to do.
Nothing to do.
Yeah.
Nothing to
I mean,
do.
if we were closer to the crater, you could hike the trails there at the crater, but we're probably 20 miles, 15
No.
miles, 10 miles.
Is it that far?
It's,
I'm not really
it's
sure.
pretty far. It looks a lot closer.
The
than it is,
entrance
but
to the road was about 2.8 miles down because I thought I was at the coordinates,
right.
and then it dawned on me. I looked at my phone and said, "Oh, I still had 2.8 to go." So I was right there by the entrance to.
Okay, so yeah, so it's a ways.
Yeah, it's a ways down
maybe
there,
not
but
10 miles. But
Yeah.
it's too far to hike from here.
Yeah, let's see, anything to wrap up with? I think we tried to cover a few things from our perspective. I did want to mention that Christian, myself, and Patrick all basically got into this around the same time.
About the same time?
I think.
Yeah.
And so we're, and it's just good to have other people's experience with you at times. But if you're brave and can strike out on your own, you should give it a try. And again, if you get affiliated with a club, you can ask other people. And now there's so many Facebook groups, right? You could probably find information on
Tons of Facebook
on
groups.
dark
Yeah.
sites and everything.
Yeah.
And then it's just a matter of how dark do you want to go, and the benefits of it. So, all right. Anything else we want to plug or anything?
I'm good.
I think
Patrick's got a drone, so he spends some time in the daytime, or at least at Red Rock, doing some nice drone work.
I mean, I'm still new at flying a drone, so
Yeah.
I'm still kind of practicing. But yeah, I mean, it's getting an aerial view of everything it's pretty awesome.
Yeah. The interesting thing is, once you get to a point where you can sleep all night, used to be I'd be up all night fighting issues, and so I'd sleep during the afternoon. But so anyway,
Bring a good book.
Yeah.
bring a good book.
Yeah.
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 Bring refreshments.
Yes.
And all right. Well, I think that's about it. If you like this kind of content, please give it a thumbs up. As always, like, share, and subscribe. And wherever you may be in the world, clear skies. Till next time.
See ya.